Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptop C, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox and Hops, where I normally sit down with fellow metal musicians and talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. But as we approach the end of 2019, I wanted to do a special year-end wrap-up of my favorite Quebec breweries, and I couldn't think of a better person to do a collaborative episode with than with Craig Thorn. He is from the Beer and Other Shit podcast, the BAOS Podcast. As I got Vox and Hops rolling last year, I started scouring the local beer scene, the local podcast scene, to see who some of the pioneers of the craft beer podcast scene might be, and I quickly fell upon the BAOS Podcast. I hooked up with Craig over the summer, and I interviewed him. He subsequently invited me onto his podcast. We hit it off. It's very fun to hang out with people that are in the same world as you. As much as we're from different worlds, Craig is more from the rap, hip-hop world. I am obviously from the metal world. We have many, many interests that do cross over, and it's very, very fun to hang out with someone that knows what it's like to release consistent podcast material. I'm super stoked to have hung out with Craig. Alongside with this episode, we hit up all of the microbreweries that made our top 10 list, and they were so generous. They hooked us up with some brews so that we could drink during the episode. They hooked us up with so much brew that we have some that we've included in a massive giveaway. We have a 3-prize giveaway that is happening right now. You could check it out in the description of this podcast, and you can check it out on the Vox and Hops Facebook page and on social medias. There is an epic contest going on. We have 3 prizes. We have so much stuff. It's unbelievable. All of these prizes are stuff that both Craig and I were like, wow, I would like that. But no, we didn't keep any of it. We gave it all to you guys. You just got to follow the simple instructions in the description of this podcast and on our social media pages, and you can win these prizes. Make sure you check out all those steps because you don't want to miss out, and you definitely want to get your hands on either of these 3 prizes. They're all incredible, filled with products from amazing local Quebec breweries, the top breweries for me and Craig from this year. So here it is, the top 10 Quebec Microbrewery episode. This is Vox and Hops episode number 98 with Craig Thorn from the BAOS Podcast.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
What's good, y'all? This is C-Certified Brewhead, and welcome to a very special episode of BAOS Podcast. As you can tell, we are here with Matthew from Vox and Hops. Thank you for doing this.
I'm super stoked to be doing this.
This is fun, man. This exact episode is being split between BAOS in video format and Vox and Hops on audio.
That is correct.
So you want to let people know what we're doing tonight?
Yes. Earlier this year, my brother-in-law said, Matt, you should do a Christmas special.
Okay.
And I was like, no, that sounds like a horrible idea. But a year-end wrap-up of my favorite Quebec breweries is something that made sense to me, and I reached out to you, and I said we can make it our favorite Quebec breweries, and I'm super stoked about that, so we made a list.
Yeah, we did. So it was like something normally for us at BOS, we don't really focus specifically on Quebec, but it makes sense because we're both here in Montreal. There are so many great Quebec breweries, particularly this year. It's been exceptional.
It was very, very hard to get this list down to 10.
Oh, yeah. We had to sort of scramble back and forth a few times. It was tough. We even separated. So you'll see we've got a top 10 brewery list in alphabetical order, not a numerical order. So there's no favoritism or like
winners.
Bias. Because like, to be honest, like if you guys watch BOS, and I'm sure now with yourself, you've moved into interviewing brewers more than just musicians. Some of these people are friends.
That is correct,
I don't want to sort of either bias them and put them on because they're friends, or like upset anybody by not including them. So this was just or at least in the order. So we have our top 10, we have our honorable mentions, which we're going to do at the end. So other breweries that we felt did some really cool things as well, and they're going to be ones to look out for in 2020.
But we had to pick 10.
We had to, and it's not fun. And then, of course, we got some of the bigger guys that we kept a little separate from that. So we're going to start with the top 10, or we're going to do the honorable mentions for the big guys first?
Let's go through the top 10.
Let's go through the top 10. So the first brewery in our top 10 with A is À la Fût. Yes.
Yeehaw!
So these guys are based in Saint-Tite, Quebec. We interviewed them in July, went up to Saint-Tite Really interesting place. Have you been there?
I have not been there, but I would really like to be there.
It's cool. It's literally feels like you're in like a cowboy movie or something. Like, it's kind of weird in a good way.
When I interviewed Francis at Chambly,
Yes.
I felt the cowboy vibes.
Oh, they have them. They got like the full saloon doors. Everyone's wearing cowboy boots. Their merch is all cowboyed up. It's really consistent.
I was disappointed that the Montreal brew pub or like tap room closed down.
It was, I think there's a story behind that. Someone told me that I don't want to sort of go too into it in case it was wrong, but the TLDR is, I believe, that it was licensed. Mm-hmm. The name was licensed by a separate company. Did you hear that?
It is also what I heard. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay, good, good. So I don't want to be lying on anybody here. So it is a shame I didn't get to visit it, but I don't think they focused on the beer as much. It was kind of just like a
bar with
a bar that just happened to have the À la Fût name on it. So it wasn't, and it would need to be kind of authentic to work in a city like Montreal.
Of course.
Yeah. So we got some beers. Oh, on top of that, we reached out to all the top 10 breweries to be like, well, we're going to be going through this on the episode. Would you like us to drink some of the beer on the episode? Some of them gave us some beer. Some of them we had beer from already. So it's a bit of a mix. And then at the end, I got something special for you guys. Stay to the end because you're going to want to know what we've got coming. It's actually the biggest thing of this thing.
There's a reward. It's going to be fun.
There's a reward, basically. So this beer, you chose this one. Maddie, do you want to tell us what this one's about?
Yes, it's Tante Boulet, assemblage collaboratif. It's a Boulet barriqué 12 mois and Tante tricotante vieillie en fût de chardonnay. So it's a collab with the Microbrasserie du Lac Saint-Jean, which is our two fantastic beers that they've put together.
Do you want to tell us what that means in English for the
Yes,
Anglophones?
of course. It is a collaborative brew, assemblage.
So it's like a blend.
Yeah, it's a mixture of their Boulet, which is barrel aged for 12 months. Okay. And it's also mixed with Microbrasserie du Lac Saint-Jean, which is another breweries. The Tante Tricotante, which is a grandmother that's knitting.
Okay.
No, sorry, an aunt that's knitting.
Yeah, Tante, yeah.
Aged in a Chardonnay barrels.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, we're going to stop staring at it and put it in our faces.
That's right.
You were saying that the Boulet, I think I have that in the fridge. I never actually got to try it. How do you feel about the original is like a...
I think the one that I really, really enjoyed earlier this year, and the reason that À la Fût is on this list is the Funky Boulet that came out earlier this year. I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was a very strange, complex beer, slightly sour with the barrel flavors to it. It was complex, which always encourages me to dive deeper into beers. Always a huge fan of À la Fût.
Sick. They
got a bunch of great brews, and that's why they're on this list for me.
Hell yeah. So this one sits at 7.7%. It's kind of like opaque. Nice little head. Nice. Smells great. Get in ya. Look at these Vox&Hops glasses, by the way. Take note of these. Bit of a hint.
It's good.
Wow, it's good.
Yeah.
It's kind of less winey than I thought it would be. Yeah, definitely got
dry.
Like super dry. I mean, it's the first beer of the night, so I always kind of find that like I don't always pick up the flavors straight away, or some maybe like bitterness is amplified when that's not actually accurately represented.
I can drink a lot of these. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, man. À la Fût are really, really interesting. I really like their vibe. I didn't drink many of their offerings until I went there and I got to try pretty much everything they had, and I was very, very impressed. I always kind of like, they did a lot of barrel aged stuff, and they didn't do a lot of the new world, like haze and whatever that I like personally. So they didn't typically appeal, but after going there, I'm completely converted.
They're one of the like OG Quebecois barrel age programs, so you got to take your hat off to them because a lot of other people have followed suit. This year I really enjoyed their Cuvée 12, which was a beer that they put out for their 12th anniversary. It was another assemblage that they aged with like raspberries and small fruits. It was delicious, far more fruity on the nose and in the mouth than this one. And I also really liked their double cappy that just came out with yellow prunes, which if you haven't tried that, you should go find that. It's absolutely delicious.
Okay. I enjoyed the Rouge de Mekinac, their classic Flanders Red. I'm not generally a Flanders guy, but this year I've been turned on to them by multiple breweries, and that was a great one because it's a little more fruitier, red fruitier than a typical Flanders. When we did the tour of their barrel room, which is crazy, all like separate temperatures for different things, and they've got different versions of them in different types of wood, lightly toasted, heavily toasted, medium. It's crazy. Like we got to try, they actually can different versions and they write on the can and they keep them so they can tell and which versions taste better over time in which kind of wood. So there was one called Golden Horseshoe, which was a collab with like, I don't recall, maybe like 6 breweries all around the Golden Horseshoe, going up to like around Lake Ontario. So was that through Kingston and like maybe even up to Windsor or something like that. Like it's crazy. Yeah, it was super impressive. I really, really enjoyed that.
So that's the good thing about being in Saint-Cyr and not in Montreal. You can afford to have space to have a sick-ass barrel room.
Yeah, man. And it's completely off-site too. They've got a auberge across the street from the brewery that we stayed at. Literally, you could crawl across the street home from the saloon, and then they've got the main tavern on the street, which is great food, cool vibes, super locals, no one speaks English. It's good times.
Just watch out for horses.
Yeah, honestly, like actually watch out. And apparently they said every September it's the biggest like rodeo, kind of like the Calgary Stampede. I forgot what it's called. It's like St. Tite Western Festival or something like that.
That's right. I've been there when I was a kid. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
They said
my aunt's a bit of a cowgirl.
So. Tante.
My tante.
Exactly. Look at that. Oh, I bet she's a cowgirl. Sorry. You walked into that one.
I did.
Yeah, you really did. Or rode into it, maybe. Huh? They said that people have to go on the rodeo at St. Tite to get into the Calgary Stampede.
Really? That's like a qualifier.
Qualifier. That's how it works. All right, so that is the first one. The second brewery in our top 10 Quebec breweries of 2019, Maddie. Avant-Garde. So Renaud and Sean are fantastic human beings, and I think we interviewed them over the summer at some point in their new space in Hochelaga, which is just in the same building they were contracting out of Hochelaga. Now they have their own space. It's huge, super welcoming, beautiful. Like the back is awesome. You can see right through. Have you been?
I have not been.
You have not been yet?
Yeah.
You can see right through those windows into the brewery. The tap room is huge. They've got like 24 lines. It's crazy. And they are personally for me, I'm very, very proud of them because they're like a contract brewing success story. They started contracting. They did it for years. They didn't rush into a place. They got their name out in the market, both Jukebox and Avant-Garde. They're the same owners. But we're selecting Avant-Garde specifically. That's what they branded the brew pub as. Avant-Garde has kind of more funkier stuff versus Jukebox. And we get to drink tonight the first of their barrel releases. So this is called Rose Glorieux. It's they did the first bottle release maybe like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, almost
a month ago. Okay, and this was the only one that I personally tried from that launch. I went on that day and got to try this one, but this was the one I always heard was super fire. They did 2 other ones, and the place was rammed. I went like in the afternoon. It was already super busy, so I'm excited.
Yeah, there's nothing better than people that put their nose down to the ground and try to get something done, jumping through all the right hoops, and then finally they can do it in their own house.
Yeah, right?
It's just so refreshing.
And keep the full control, keep all the everything exactly how they want it. They've got tons of space to experiment, nothing holding them back except finances, really. And it's just really cool just to see them grow.
I love Avant-Garde. A lot of the beers that led me to put them on this list would be... They got 2 solid ones that are my go-to beers if I want to just have a nice beer, let's say on a Tuesday night. Very easy beers like the Jet Set Pilsner.
Oh, I love that.
Love that beer. Love it. I'm good. Love it. And their Fashionista is just a delicious, nice, juicy IPA that I love very much. And this new barrel project is something that I'm very excited to try, which I have not yet.
I spilled some beer on Matt because you know what? That's what happens with these... assemblage beers. They can be a little wild, fermented, and a little crazy.
So what style of beer is this?
Okay, so this is a barrel-aged assemblage. What's that in English again? Like a blend?
A blend.
5.4%. Now, this specific one is aged on griots, which is sour cherries.
Yes.
In Cabernet, American Cabernet barrels with wild yeast and lacto. and it was re-fermented in the bottle, hence a larger addition of sour cherry juice, hence the explosion on your pants.
And it's a beautiful
Great
color.
pink color.
Yeah.
Wicked nose.
Oh, yeah.
Mate.
Cheers.
Oh, that is exceptional.
It's tart.
Right?
It's nice.
Super smooth. It's got that chewiness from the barrel. You know? God, that is good. I really, really like this one. I had it fresh on tap. This tastes a little different from memory, having it from the bottle, which is probably as expected. Maybe it's re-fermented a little different.
Those cherries are so good.
The cherries are good, right? Not too over the top. No. The tartness is balanced. It's just really, really well done. The oak is subtle. The cab barrels are giving it probably a little mild tannins, but nothing crazy.
It's super dry.
Super dry. Oh, man. That's
very
great.
Good. Very good.
Fantastic, eh? Yeah. I would agree with you that some of the beers that Avant-Garde have done that I really love, Jet Set Pilsner, I had that the other night at a bar, and it was like, I could drink that every day.
It's just so easy, yeah.
All their classics. A lot of the stuff they do isn't super interesting to me. They got their brown ale was really good, by the way.
I had an Imperial version of that once, the Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I had an Imperial version once.
It was good?
It was great.
Not surprised.
But it was a few years ago. It was probably still brewed at a schlag at that point.
Probably would have been, yeah.
They had that Wild series for a while, too. The Wild number 1, Wild number 2.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was also...
Stuff. Yes,
in the previous in
the other one. I'm sure all the newer stuff is going to be from there, but I didn't get to try a lot of those type of beers. I'd only really tried most of the canned type of stuff, but yeah, man, there's some really, really great beers. Avant-Garde is extremely consistent, and it's just really cool to see great people grow and sort of blossom, come into their own
and succeed.
I love it.
Next up, we have Brasserie du Bas-Canada.
I mean, it's not a top 10 list of breweries in Quebec without Bas-Canada.
It's a very easy choice. Anytime you see them anywhere, you just buy that beer because it's going to be gone.
You don't question it.
10 minutes after you're in the store.
Even if you've had it 4 times, you just get it.
Yeah, and it's always worth it.
Always. This was one brewery that we weren't able to get our hands on any of their stuff. Being in Montreal, it is quite difficult. You have to go and get it from the depths within 3-4 hours of it dropping. Otherwise, you ain't having that. I don't have anything on hand or any of their crazy stouts, but... I did get to try. We were talking about it earlier. You said you didn't get to try any of their stouts.
I've never drank a stout from Bas-Canada.
I only tried one, thanks to Chris at Hops and Bros. He brought. We did an episode in Ottawa in April with them, and he brought the War and Peace Guerre. I don't know how to say it.
Guerre et Paix.
Paix. Okay, insane, ridiculous, out of control, disgusting.
What style of stout is that?
Just I believe, bourbon barrel aged. I don't think it had coconut or any adjuncts. They've done other ones. We're actually also doing a end of year BAOS kind of like roundup just of the crew, the 5 of us, listing some favorite beers and stuff. And Nathan Does Beer, go follow him. He mentioned that specific beer in his top 3, but he was like, it could have easily been any of the other ones. He tried them all, and they're insane.
Yeah, the HIPA, the Los Tabernacos, all the double IPAs, all crazy, just delicious.
They had their 2nd anniversary this year. They're one of the few breweries in the province that has lineups every time when they do can releases and stuff, which is crazy. So they're definitely moving forward. They're changing the game in the scene, really.
Absolutely. The IPA, everyone's running after them right now. So
yeah, and it's good. It's good to have that locally because I feel like a lot of people to get that type of stuff, whether it's the haze or the crazy. I mean, Quebec usually has had really, really good stouts, but say like pastry stouts won't be here. That was always just bourbon barrel aged, very traditional style. That type of new world, not like the US type of beers, people had to go elsewhere for those. So it's very cool that now we have not only Bas-Canada but other breweries, which we'll potentially get to, in Quebec, that now we're able to access locally.
Yeah, and they'll be influenced by them, and
it feels like it's
play
like
the game with them.
Yeah, man, it feels like it's a new wave of sort of Quebec breweries
because there's obviously a market.
There really is. Clearly, people want it, and that's something that I think a lot of the traditional breweries might, fought against over the years, not really realizing it because tastes are changing, people are traveling, and it's a whole new
Traditional is fun, but being avant-garde is always more fun.
Good tie-in. Yeah.
Up next, we have Brasserie Dunham.
Yes, the D. in the alphabet right there. Dunham, someone we agreed on immediately. This was not even questioned as well. I mean, so far, all four of these were like, we didn't even need to discuss it.
Just no-brainers.
No.
Dunham's been doing this for many, many years.
They have.
They are one of the forerunners of bringing craft beer into bigger areas, having a great distribution, making a wide array of amazing products.
Yes, sir. They changed the game in Quebec with the festival, Fuduni, last year in 2018. They skipped it 2019, but now it's going to be back in 2020, which, to be honest, this was the least amount of festivals. This was the year that I went to the least amount of festivals, and Fuduni was like, now it's next year. I'm actually excited. I needed a bit of a festival break. It kind of went too hard. It was just crazy because it had the best of everything. They had all the crazy haze from the States and the crazy stuff there, but they also had the Belgian. They had Cantillon and Tilken and like Jester King and all these. It was just insane. And just for them to be able to have those relationships, to be able to curate that level quality of festival in the province by the border on a farm with like sunflowers that are 8 feet tall, it was just glorious, Matthew.
And I think that a lot of people in the States know Dunham too.
Oh, for sure, particularly at the border. And I know even my boy Rob, shouts to Rob in Vermont, when he's able to zip up, it's like a real quick, there's like a road I think that goes pretty much right there, a highway. So like a lot of Americans from around there are able to pop up. They're just exceptional. So this evening, this was a beer that I still had kicking around from our podcast with them in February 2018. This is called Viti Vini Vici, the Italian we came so we conquered. It's a cuvée Upen, my legend, what that means?
No, I don't know. No, that doesn't. No.
So it's
a light saison, which has been aged on raisin skins.
Zweigelt.
This is very German.
Yeah.
Aged in Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris from Domaine de Pervenche.
So this one looked really sexy. I thought this would be a good one for us. Haven't had it. Looks glorious. I figured it's got to be a little bit of a red hue to it or something because of the grapes.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah. Other beers that really led me to push this onto our list. Oh, good catch. It wanted to come out.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like, please.
You got all of the Cyclops beers.
Yes.
Which are just so good. They're Cyclops IPAs, which come out with just so many variants of hops, but they're always amazing and delicious. They came out in cans this year, with which a lot of these breweries did start transitioning towards cans, which is amazing.
Yes. There we go. I'm just dropping stuff everywhere here tonight.
You got their Leo's Early Breakfast, which is just so delicious with the tea in it, an IPA with tea. And a personal favorite that I have not gotten my hands on this year is La Petite Malle, the Imperial Stout.
Yes.
So delicious.
Maybe it's on the way.
I hope so.
I know. So, nice. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's got some character to it.
Jeez. It's going to take a bit to identify that. That's complex.
It's more winey than...
Oh, yeah, super winey. Yeah. Really, really sharp carb. Which has been like 3 in a row with super sharp carb. I guess that will be barrel-aged, like wild yeast. I feel like I'm getting a bit of both of the different types of grapes. Yeah, that's like dry chewiness again that I find is a really great character of a fantastically well-done...
barrel-aged,
like
with wild yeast.
Yeah, wild yeast. Not necessarily that it doesn't happen in a stout, but always with these type of saisons, the saison essentially, which is kind of what Dunham are known for.
Yes, yeah.
I would also agree that the Cyclops series was my fave. I had a bunch of those this year. Every time I see one, I'm always grabbing them. Can never go wrong with those. I like them as well because they're not a brewery that are known for doing New Englands or any haze, and often the Cyclops are hazy, super tropical, creamy, chalky, like all the characteristics that I really enjoy. So it just shows that if they can do anything well, if they want.
I think they can, and their artwork is always spot on.
Always fire. Yeah. They do a lot of great collabs. Yeah, man, just a fantastic brewery that
they did one with
to dominate.
Collective Arts, actually, the Guanabavoa.
What was that?
It was a double IPA that was just so juicy, so hazy. It was delicious. Yeah, the artwork was really...
Did they can it?
They did, yeah. They came out in September, I want to say, or no, end of August.
End of August. Must have missed that.
Really good, yeah.
All right. No, I love it. I think Dunham are usually at Liquid Art as well, the Collectives Festival every June. So hopefully they'll be there next year. But yeah, Dunham killer as always.
Up next, we have L'Espace Public.
Yes, so huge faves. Love the guys at L'Espace. You guys already know if you've watched any of our BAOS stuff. you know that we're good friends with them. We've done multiple collabs with them. The whole team, Simon, Val, Frank, they're all super, super cool. We really want you guys to connect. Simon wants to jump on the podcast as well. But they're just such cool people, super generous. Their pub is one of the most popping things in the area. It's always rammed. It's always like, if you're ready for a wild night, go to L'espace. It's always out of control. I've never gone there and come back in a reasonable state, ever.
They put out a lot of really good beers this year. Particularly, there's one that just totally hit me, was Tempête Tropicale.
Yes.
It was like a hazy, delicious tropical IPA.
A little bitter as well, a little piney, nice balance, east meets west kind of thing.
I really, really enjoyed that. I bought far too many of those.
There's a little beer they put out this year, the Bière de Vacances. We did the collab with them in summer. That was the 4th collab, I think. We did 2 versions of the cans. First version had more lactose. Second one was a bit more sour. I preferred the first one, of course. And they did a brew pub test batch that was 6% versus like 4%. And it was just like a Orange Julius. It was out of control. It was so damn good.
It's actually beer that we shared on the Vox&Hops episode with Craig.
Which is episode number 55.
If you remember, I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. Sometimes I got like OCD and I can just remember stuff, and then otherwise I can't remember what I said.
I don't remember.
It's a lot of beer, right?
It was recorded at Brewski. Yeah.
It was. Shouts to Pub Brewski. So we have 2 beers we're going to crush tonight or sample because they're little cans. The first one is Bière de Cité, which is a sour saison with rice, and this one has no hops. That's the catch.
Crazy, and it's a collabo with Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers from Toronto. We went out to the launch of this one. They actually did a Blood Brothers tap takeover in October. It was sick. Blood Brothers guys at Legends, super cool. Got a little bit wild. Those dudes are out of, like, with Simon, everyone's just out of control. But yeah, Blood Brothers are one of the most exceptional breweries in Canada. So this was very exciting that Espace were collaborating with them.
Why do you think they focus so much on sour beers? It's just something that they love.
Simon loves sour beers. It's his thing. He likes low ABV sour beers. So everything that they do, the next one we're doing is 5%. What's that? 5%. You're not going to really see many beers above that. I think Tempête Tropicale might have been 6, which is high for L'espace. And the second one was, I'll just pour it now. This one is Bière de Driveway. They're sour stout. I haven't had this since it was in bottles, which you were saying before, but it's a super interesting beer. A sour stout in and of itself is just a strange concept, but Simon just loves sour beers, and he also drinks in volume. He's a volume guy. He's like fucking crusher, and I find that's really cool though, because it's authentic to him. The beers that they brew are authentic to the brewers, and I think that's when breweries make the best beers. When the brewers love what they're making, that's when you do the best stuff.
So he's brewing for himself almost.
Yeah. On that note, quick question. As a fellow musician, do you listen to your own music?
When I am recording it,
when
it is about to come out, when I get that final mix, I'll listen to it a lot.
Right.
But then I
really want to live with it.
But then I won't.
Yeah.
But the next time I'll listen to it is if we add a new song to the set and I have to go backwards to relearn a song. Then I will re-listen to myself. But if it comes on like shuffle, I'll keep it sometimes.
Okay. I'm like you. It's actually today we're filming this, December 20th. It's the 1-year anniversary of my album I lost last year with my friend Poe in San Francisco, who we were just hanging out with last week. And I listened to it before just because I was like, it's 1 year. I'll put it on. I was like, I never listen to my own shit. Exactly the same as you. If we're doing shows or during mixing and releasing and making sure everything's good, sequencing, all that stuff. Otherwise, I don't touch it. I found it's a weird... Hey man, listen to me rap. Like, listen to me. But it's with beer, that same weirdness is not there. Like, you could drink your own beer all the time, and I don't think it's weird.
That's one of the things where it doesn't work together because it's closer to food at that point.
Right. Yeah. But I guess someone said, well, why wouldn't you listen to I saw this like the other day, which is why I bring it up. You're the perfect person to ask. On Twitter, someone was like, well, why wouldn't you listen to your own music? Because don't you make stuff that you want to listen to? So then wouldn't you want to listen to it?
It's enjoyable to listen to it, but when you listen to music, you want to be surprised.
And you're not surprised because you wrote every single nuance.
You've analyzed it all.
Exactly. And you overanalyzed it, probably, knowing us. So, 5% Bière de Cité.
So what did they use to make it bitter?
I believe it was it's all from the yeast. Everything from the yeast. And I don't think it's bitter at all.
It smells wonderful.
Right? It smells like lemons.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Right, you can just taste there's nothing in there. And it's rice as well. So it's like a saison put together with the yeast, and the yeast gives it all these flavors. I might be wrong, but I'm like 99% sure
it's delicious, sour,
accurate. Because the
balanced.
reason why they do it, because I think Simon did it. And now, actually, I put this in my notes as well for L'Espace. They actually did a beer with Christopher Needleman from Saint Houblon, who passed away this year. And he did a beer with Simon, which then we did the podcast surrounding the launch of, because I was supposed to interview him, and I found out he passed on the day, which is crazy. Poor, like, man, his family were G's. They came on the podcast, super cool. But he did a beer with Simon that was also no hops, but it was a fruited version. And then I think Simon met the Blood Brothers dudes and was showing them that, and then they started doing a range of beers with no hops, and then they did this one together. So I think a lot of the flavors are derived from the yeast specifically. So it's a super interesting, and there might be something else that I'm missing. I kind of feel like there might be. I don't know if it would be this color without something else. But it's cool, eh?
It's really delicious. It's
super crushable.
It's super drinkable,
citrusy, and floral,
not like anything else, you know.
No, nothing like. And the rice is not. It doesn't like take away from the mouthfeel. It just makes it more refreshing. It's a great summer beer, even though it's winter. It's a great winter beer too. Speaking of winter beer,
I was gonna say, that I've waited. This is a beer that they were marketing it as like something that you could shovel your driveway.
Right. That was
initially. That was the initial part of it.
Right. But it's only a 5% stout in going on with the L'Espace brand, of course, is Bière de. That's their whole thing. It, particularly in their cans, they want to keep everything. Even before we came up with our name, we had a bunch of different names, but it had to be Bière de. 5% sour stout. Smells like a stout, right? See, it's
sour.
like
very sour.
Yeah. It's weird, but it works. Like
the malt rolls in at the end.
Yeah. And it kind of comes back around. Exactly. It's like it like goes in layers.
It's really more sour than I would expect.
It's more sour than you expect, particularly for a stout, but it's odd, but it works. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
It's still good, yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
5% is nice. So.
Yeah, exactly. Any more than that would be too much. So L'Espace.
Next up, another Quebec powerhouse. We got Lagabière.
Lagabière, huge fave of both of ours. Another one that we both put in the top 10.
It was easy. Yeah.
Super easy. I feel like Lagabière made the first available year-round New England
IPA
with Tamia, and then Ta Plus Mieux, and then now Ta Moins Forte.
Which is amazing. I love having a 4%
like session.
Crushable, drinkable, still juicy and creamy. Not
super fire.
Feeling like you're missing the alcohol like a lot of session beers are.
Yeah, and pack and flavor still. The hops are still great. I feel like their Balade en Radeau series,
I love these series. Yeah.
Super cool. You know, hit or miss flavor wise, as in like everyone likes different things. But I feel overall the consistency and quality has been high. I'm sure some of these beers will make it into the
top 10s of people, yeah.
For sure, but also regular rotation. They'll come out of that, and hopefully they'll package them up with a different name. I've seen breweries do that before. They'll put out specials and under a weird.
No.
Well, that's weird. Well, I guess you're still recording.
Yeah, we just had a blackout here. That's hilarious.
Well, here we are. Yeah.
We'll finish this lager beer in the dark?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
For long,
just for you guys,
right?
Yeah?
You know what? This is what Tiffany can do some lights. This is what professionals do.
This is what.
Look at that.
There
see?
you go.
Boom. I love it. It's what, when we're faced with this type of stuff, you're on stage, some shit happens, you got to roll with it and make it work.
You go through it. You act like you never look at the drummer when he fucks up.
Never look at him. That's the tip. Speaking of the tip, this beer that we're going to be drinking has spruce tips in it. You like that, huh? You thought I was going to be do some other type of tip, huh? Oh, you dirty asses. So this one is called Algonquin. Like Algonquin, but Algonquin. It's a red ale with
spruce tips.
Yeah, is that Sapin Baumier means spruce tips?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
5.6%. Definitely not a beer that jingles my panties. But
we'll see.
I'm very curious because lager beer, I'll drink anything they make. Like, I'm fascinated by this brewery and what they're doing.
They had my favorite beer at Chambly. They had a strawberry New England IPA.
That's crazy.
I don't know why they haven't put it in a can yet, but I really, really enjoyed it. It was my top beer of Chambly, if not one of the top.
Jeez, that's amazing. See, anything with fruit, like that. I know some people who don't like fruited hoppy beers. Shout out to Noah from Beerism, hater. He knows I love him. But I feel like lager beer really come through with that stuff. So red ale with whoa, it's like
You can smell it.
Wooded forest.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
It's cool.
All right, let's go. It is actually cool. Smoke detector. Oh my fucking god.
It tastes like a forest.
That is intense.
It tastes like forest.
It tastes like a forest. It smells like a forest. It's basically
it's a little perfumey. Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, whilst it's not my thing, I really appreciate weird and innovative beers, and I feel like that this line, it's really creamy. The body is great.
It's 5.6%.
Like this. Oh my god, it's like perfect. Here, Tiff, you need to try.
It's
it.
perfumey.
Spare hand. It's oh, thanks, Maddie. It's really bitter, really overwhelming. But I think knowing lager beer, that he specifically, because they send us we were just talking about it, the Ballad on Rado every month for us to review and stuff. And he said, all right, I'll hold your box off so I specifically to send this beer. So it's something that they're pushing. I think it's their annual release. They used to only do it in the pub, I believe, from what I saw. I looked it up on Untapped before when he mentioned what it was. So I think he was excited for us to try it. It's hella weird, but I think that's the ethos of lager beer. They are experimenters, they're innovators, and I think they're an asset to the Quebec beer scene.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that they need a monster stout.
Ooh, yeah.
I feel like I can't remember them. They have the coffee one, which is almost a little flat.
Cold, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't like that one.
No,
that's the one. Yeah,
it's like an ale, almost like a hand pumped ale. There's no effervescence to it.
Correct. I thought there might have been just a lemon can that I had, but maybe not.
Maybe that's what I thought too. Yeah, but
okay, so I guess
they
not.
need like a monster stout. That would be my only big shout out to Lager Bière.
I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they're working on it.
Yeah. This next brewery is Matera Brasseurs Tonnelier.
That's good. That's good. I'm kind of scared.
Yeah. We had to keep going.
We had to.
I like it.
We got the candles going.
Yeah.
We improvised, you know? Matera's a good one. Now, this was your specific selection because I don't think I've even had any beers from Matera.
A lot of it really boils down to this one beer that we're about to drink. It's their Stutter Stout. It is a coffee stout.
I can't see shit.
This one in particular is aged in cognac, but it's different because they age the beans in the barrels.
Yeah, they age the green beans in the barrel, the bourbon barrel, cognac barrel. They roast the beans. They add the beans to the beer, and then they put all of it back into either the same barrel or similar barrels.
And it's always delicious. It's always boozy. It's always creamy. And let's see what it's got.
I'm excited.
They got a lot of other very good barrel-aged beers, like the Frau Riesling, which is a nice complex beer that's aged in casks that held Riesling before. Very, very interesting. Riesling, yes, thank you. They got the Coming of Age, which is also really awesome. The 2.0 just came out. Is just super awesome, complex.
What kind of beer is that?
It's a nice sour beer with small fruits.
Okay.
Aged in a barrel as well. I love that they focused on barrels. Let's see what it's got. It's definitely one of my favorite stouts from Quebec.
It's like 9.4 or something.
Yes.
From memory?
And, originally, they used to put wax on the top when it first came out.
I can see why.
Me being myself, I like to drink stouts at the end, and it was always a challenge.
We actually have a video about that. We'll link that in the cards up here. We have Blood Brothers showed us how to open wax seal. It's
yes,
the most
please.
sensible thing. You're going to be like, are you serious? This is all it is.
Okay, because it was always a challenge.
It's unbelievable. Cheers. Oh, that's great.
It's almost like peppery.
Yeah, peppery, creamy. The bourbon is actually, or cognac, whatever it is.
Cognac in this one, yeah.
Cognac. Super subtle.
It's boozy, delicious.
But it's not over the top boozy.
Coffee, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my coffee stouts.
Coffee stouts are fire. Yeah. Just the concept of this is so exceptional. I heard about it a while ago and I was so impressed. I love it.
Yeah, and they have their Real Double IPA, which is a delicious, very drinkable IPA for, I think it's almost 8%.
Right.
Delicious double IPA.
Okay.
I think that they're missing a nice hazy attack. I think that will help push them further. They're at brewing through a schlag right now.
Yep.
We know how brewing, when you're doing contract brewing, how it's hard to really do as much as you can want to do.
Of course.
So I think that they have a huge future, and I hope that they go far.
Amen. And I also love that they have the Tam Tams. We aren't too far from there.
Yes.
The Tam Tam beer, which is such a Montreal thing to do, is provide a beer for the biggest regular Sunday event in the city that goes on whenever it's not cold. People are there hitting drums and getting high and drinking beer.
I think it's 3.9%, so it's super easy, super...
So smart. I love that. That's
and
actually
it's tasty. And it's tasty.
It's good?
Yeah.
I love it. Next up,
obviously,
the obvious one, Microbrasserie, Montreal's Haze Gods. This is something that we're both connected to and excited about. You have a personal relationship with the owners.
Yeah, they're all from previous Montreal metal bands. So shout out to Iron Dissonance and...
Coming with the other bands?
No, I should definitely.
That's okay. No one's mad. I actually met Vincent, the owner and head brewer at Liquid Art in Hamilton last year. He was currently at the time a brewer for...
The Last Felony.
The Last Felony. There you go. It came to you. That's a cool name, The Last Felony.
It's great. They have a great.
Yeah,
they have an album. Their great album called Too Many Humans. It's perfect.
Honestly, the metal shit, you guys crack me up. It's like,
but that's what it should be. It's tongue in cheek.
Yeah, everything's smart ass and just.
But it's serious too. There are too many humans.
Facts. Georgia Guidestone.
Back to you meeting Vince. Yeah.
So I met Vince, and he was a brewer at the Trois Mousquetaires at the time. He was super cool. He knew the podcast. We were hanging out, had a beer. Didn't know it was him until I went there, and he came up. He said, "What's up, man?" Like, I was like, I didn't recognize him at first because, you know, you meet someone at a festival, you're drunk and everyone looks the same and whatever. But I was super impressed. Now, I went the second week. The first couple times I went, things were pretty green. As one would anticipate, a brand new brewery with, new system, have to dial it in. It's never going to be perfect straight away. You know, they don't get to brew too much beforehand, I think, because then what are they going to do with all that beer when you don't have the permits to sell it? Mm-hmm. This Missorum is the brewery that if you guys are familiar with any of our videos or any of our podcasts, probably for 2 to 3 years, no exaggeration, I have been complaining that Montreal does not have a place for someone like me with my taste to go out and get fire haze. Now there's a few of them, I guess. Pub Brewski has some great stuff. You can get lager beer on tap a bunch of places, but a brewery that specializes in it, that essentially feels like you're walking into, it could be Vermont, it could be Massachusetts, it could be New York, it could be Los Angeles. That's what it feels like in Missorum. They're everything I asked for in this city, where they focus on hazy IPAs, fruited sours, big stouts, and I tasted their first Crispy Boy. They had a lager and a fermenter.
Really?
It wasn't lagering, yeah. I think it's going to be a little while before it comes. It was super early. It wasn't even lagered yet, still fermenting. But that's what they're doing. That's all they care about. I think it's phenomenal.
The fact that they've been open for 4 months and that they're just destroying every week. They've put out almost over 35 beers at this point.
Crazy.
They've been working hard, and I'm super proud of them. All of their beers are amazing, super interesting.
They've improved so fast. The last 2 times I went, they would just blew my mind. The first 2 times I was like, the potential's there. I knew the potential was there. Not good enough for me to buy them at the time, and I think they would probably agree. Very green, but just every time I go there, it's just better and better and better, and it's super impressive. They have lineups every Saturday for their can releases, hundreds of people lining up,
which is amazing.
They sell out every week. The first few times I went, they had 4 beers on tap. The last 2 times, they had like 13. It's an exceptional operation. They've got food there now.
Yes,
it's rammed all the time. They built a hockey rink in the back.
Did they? Cool.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. No one was using it when we went, but maybe they have events, or they let people organize it. Or maybe it was just for them. He's in their patio. Who the hell sitting outside at minus 30? But it's just such a fantastic space. It kind of feels like there's like bar seating, then there's like shared table seating, and then there's an area near the window there that looks kind of like almost like a club with like a nice bench seats and tables and stuff. So I feel like it's got multiple vibes in the same room. And then the outside, and then you can bring your dogs, you can bring your kids. The branding, the color, the teal color, whatever it is, which all comes from the water tower, which is but they've so matched amazing. It all through their merch. The merch game is exciting. Let's crack this thing. Yeah, so definitely all of their artwork is unbelievable and so on point. It just every can is just so interesting,
It's metal-esque because they are metalheads, but it's still craft beer very much.
Oh.
And I don't know how they just keep coming up with new and new designs. It must be frustrating yet fun at the same time. All the photo shoots, all the merchandise, all the beer names, everything is just so on brand, and it's a brand that they've just created. So it's very interesting and encouraging for any other people out there that want to start a craft brewery to start taking notes from Masorum.
Couldn't agree more.
What do we got here?
This beer is called Fracturation. It is one of their lactose IPAs at 9%. It was released, I want to say 2 weeks ago. It was the first beer I had purchased from there. Without even trying it, I took a sip of Kevin's beer, but I'd already copped it anyway, so it was like, didn't matter. This was honestly like top 5 beers of 2019 for me. It was exceptional.
Sweet.
Get it in, yeah.
It smells perfect. Yeah.
It's just so glorious. It's just so creamy.
You said 9%.
9% does not taste 9%
it at all. No.
It's dangerous. It's got that nice little lactose chalkiness, a little bit dank, which is an interesting flavor.
Dank, yet not green. Yeah,
but not green.
Yeah.
And it's just so creamy. The body is exceptional. I've done about, I want to say 3 or 4 lactose beers. I know Above the Cloud, Above the Nuage, dedicated to Gangsta, track with Inspector Deck, which was super cool. They did the other one was called Catch Me If You Can, but something like that.
I love when the names come from. I don't know where.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
all
gonna
right.
ask them. I'm gonna talk to you about a podcast with them too. Like,
awesome. Yeah,
we're gonna do some. But honestly, I am so impressed and proud of these guys. I just think what they're doing is ballsy. They told me they're getting a bit of shit from the industry. Sometimes the drinkers being a little harsh on Untapped, as they tend to be. But
what would be their biggest criticisms, you think?
People were, I guess, just calling the beers like, giving it 3.5 when it's clearly they're not 3s or 3.5 out of 5. Like,
this is like a 4.5.
This is a 4 or 5, 4.75 for me. Personally, this specific beer. But like, that's one criticism. They've had other people in the industry tell them that they're not going to work, that they're not going to attract people because what they're doing is very American and it's not accepted in Quebec. But Bas-Canada is the model. They're doing it. They're
absolutely
dominating. Yeah. So Masorum are giving. This is what I always say: the fact that you can't get a Bas-Canada beer in Montreal within 4 hours tops of when they drop at any of the depths says that there's an appetite for haze and New England IPAs and of that caliber in this province that is absolutely not being met. There's a huge demand and not enough of the supply. So the fact Masorum are the only brewery aside from like bottle launches, which are kind of crazy. Dunham has those, UDCL has those. But every Saturday, regardless, they have their lineups.
Yeah, and
people are coming.
From what I've heard, they don't want to distribute this. They want to keep it in-house.
No intention.
They want to make you come.
Yep, want to make you rock up to the brewery, have the experience there, and I couldn't recommend it more. It's my favorite place. If people come to town, I'm taking them there.
Of course, yes.
Personally, because it's any excuse to go there. But yeah, I mean, they're my new favorite Quebec brewery. I just think it's fantastic what they're doing, and I think they're the beginning of the new wave of Montreal breweries. And I really hope that there's other breweries that are doing a similar thing slowly now, which we'll get to in the next part. But I think this is the start of something really, really amazing in Montreal. Cheers, bro.
To Masorum. Up next, one of my favorite places to drink beer when I'm in Quebec City, Noctem Artisans Brasseurs.
Noctem are a fantastic brewery. I haven't been there myself. I've literally only had this beer we're about to drink. I've seen you had a bunch of their beers recently.
Yes.
I've been watching people go there. I've been seeing people drink their flights. They are just a hazy extravaganza of gloriousness.
Yes.
I think their branding is phenomenal. They seem like really cool dudes. We spoke to them. We weren't able to secure anything for the podcast, but luckily you had something here that you could bring along.
Yes. It's always safe to have a catnip in your fridge.
I feel like that, you know what? Exactly right. I feel like catnip is the other Tamia of Quebec.
I agree. Yeah.
It's the other solid New England IPA that's year round, that's always available, that's always reliable. You can never go wrong with it, and it's got a cat with big eyes on it. Like
all of their branding's amazing. It all has all cats on it. I honestly don't.
What's the deal with the cat?
Know what it's about. The brewers, the owner must love cats. But I've drank a bunch of their beers this year when I played there in Quebec City with Aborted and Hideous Divinity earlier this year. I went there because I'm friends with Matt, one of their brewers. Shout out to Matt.
Shouts to Matty.
And they had a whole bunch of interesting beers. They had this stout that they brew with grapefruits and bird's eye chili, yes, and it's called the Beelzebub. So
Beelzebub,
of course, you know. So it's delicious.
Are they metal guys
it's
too?
Delicious. Matt is definitely a metal dude.
Okay.
So I don't know if the rest of the guys all are, but I know Matt is.
Makes
Shout
sense.
out to Matt Tremblay.
Okay.
And they have a bunch of great beers. Their Sooty Cat Raspberry this year was amazing. They had their Ghosts with the candied lemon.
Okay.
It's delicious. It was just as salty but yet sweet. Yeah.
I want to ask you about this. So we had our podcast, and I was telling you to do some video content, and then you did a review of a beer.
I did,
which I was very impressed with. Well done.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Make sure you go follow Vox&Hops on Facebook for that.
Please.
That was one of those beers.
Yes, because it was actually
the red sour.
That is correct. That's those two. The Calaga and the Sooty Cat Framboise were two beers that Matt hooked me up with from Noctem. So I was super stoked. He's actually the first brewer to ever send something to Vox&Hops. So
make sure you send beers to Vox&Hops, guys. If you want promotion, honestly, you're doing some fantastic work here in Quebec and beyond. And, it's important to let people know. You're getting a whole new scene. They're getting these metalheads
into your beers.
Into beer. It's beautiful.
Because metal and beer just goes together.
Unlike water and metal because of rust.
Yeah, water makes you rust.
Is it close?
Water makes you rust when you're made of metal. Yeah.
Solid. I haven't had this for ages. That's great. Do you know what hops are in this?
It's always good. No, they don't list it.
They don't list it? Cheeky.
It's probably just the classic ones.
Yeah, it tastes kind of like
Citra Mosaic.
Yeah, Simcoe. I like that a lot. Super crushable. I think it's more opaque than kind of hazy. Like I can kind of see through it, but like it's got the mouthfeel super creamy. Tropical fruits. I feel like there's like a touch of dankness, if that's the right word there, for some balance. I really enjoy this.
They're one of my favorite places in Quebec City, that's for sure.
I definitely want to get
I would love to get a Montreal tap room for them. I think that would be a smart move for them. The Quebec City is getting crazy. There's a huge craft beer scene going on over there.
Yeah, here.
They also did a collabo with Yakima Chief Hops.
Yes.
It was so good. So good. Yeah, shout out to Luke. Vox&Hops said, I love that.
Yes. He's the metalhead. Yeah, Luke is the man. That's sick, man. I love it. Noctem, keep killing them. Open up something in Montreal for the people.
Yes, please. Last up, we have our friends at Overhop.
Ooh, and it's very pertinent being that we have no power and we are looking ghostly when their logo is a skull.
Which I love. I love their branding.
Phenomenal.
I love it very, very much. All of their can art is amazing. One of my go-to beers is the Hop Man.
So good.
Love that beer. Just so drinkable. Scarily at 8%. So dangerous. I could probably go through a few before I notice that it's a bad idea. This particular beer that we're about to drink,
very special one,
is one that was also one of my favorites at Chambly. I drank it during my interview with Tatiana. It's absolutely delicious. It's a sour IPA with papaya.
Is it papaya? Oh man, how can I even see? I thought it was mango, but maybe it was papaya. It's so dark. I can't see, bro. You know what? We could guess the fruit and then we can put the light on it afterwards.
Let's try it.
I met up with Patty and Tatiana the other week there. Look, honestly, they're personal friends of ours. We had brunch with them. They gave us this can to drink here. This is actually a collab with Mason's Brewery out of Maine.
That's correct.
It's called Cripster. Is it an IPA or sour?
Passion fruit?
That sounds more like it.
That's what it is.
Oh, I love passion fruit, bro. I started. Okay,
sour IPA with passion fruit.
Oh yeah, it's definitely passion fruit. That's a good pick.
Yeah, I was super stoked when I tasted this at Chambly. It was just thick and creamy and delicious.
Oof, I'm excited. Yeah. I think passion fruit is one of the most underrated fruits in beer, arguably.
It's also super awesome that Overhop just announced that they have their own facility coming up.
Yes.
Coming up in Saint-Jean, Richelieu. So it's going to be 2020 is going to be a huge year for Overhop.
Super excited for them. They're just such wonderful people. They were the first brewery to really discover how to crack both the Ontario and the Quebec systems by contract brewing in different facilities in both provinces and having a strong presence in both in bars, in festivals, in LCBO. We've got Hazy in the LCBO in Ontario. All their beers are across the beer depth specialty beer stores in Quebec. They're doing collabs with international breweries. They're the most loveliest people. Before we met them, I've never, and even to this day, still never had anybody. Everyone was like, "Yo, do you know the Overhop? Oh, they're lovely." Like no one else has been talked about like that more than them.
It's just such a. It's like you're a part of the family.
Yeah,
immediately. Yeah.
And that's why part of the reason why you're winning, because basically a lot of this is interpersonal relationships, right? And the fact that the beer is fire first and foremost. The branding is exceptional, and the people behind it are just salt of the earth, lovely. Family oriented. The brewery, all the owners, it's Patty, Ricardo, her husband, and Tatiana. Their best friends are like sisters, so they own it, they run it. They're female. Like Ricardo is actually sort of only a little bit a part of it. That is really female owned and operated. They're currently contract brewing out of Hochelaga here in Quebec and Common Good, I think, in Ontario.
What is going to be the big change when they have their facility?
Think about it practically. They're not going to be able to do the volume out of a brew pub that we've seen the designs for, so it's not going to be able to do the stuff for the packaging. They'll probably be doing a lot more specialty, small batch stuff.
So they're going to pull out of the contract and just do...
Not. They're going to have to keep some contracting in order to do the high level canning. Well, I'm saying it in a practical sense. If you think about what's going to be able to happen, and a lot of breweries do that. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't think so.
And what is stopping other contract brewers to go into Ontario and do what they did?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
So you guys should listen and do this.
Money. So it depends. But if you're going to do it, you're going to need to have the feet on the ground, knocking on doors, knocking on LCBOs, going to the bars, doing tastings, trying to get a line. It's quite a competitive time in Ontario right now.
Absolutely.
So it is hard. If Quebec breweries want to do that, it's doable, but it is difficult. I don't want to sort of talk it up like it's easy, but like they lived in Toronto and now they actually live
Got
here.
it.
All
Okay,
of
so
them
that's
live.
what
They moved here, but they already had that here, and they decided to split. And then Tatiana moved here, and Patty stayed in Ontario, and then they all just moved out here as sort of a thing. So I'm excited to try this beer.
Yeah.
All right,
cheers.
Get in here. Oh, that's great. It's passion fruit for sure. This is a fantastic beer. I also just love that they're collabing with American breweries and stuff.
Yes, this was amazing.
Artwork is fantastic. It's very much on brand, even though it's with another brewery. Like it's actually brewed from Mason's Brewery in Maine. I think
This was brewed down in Mason.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So she brought this one for us because it would be something a little bit more fun for the episode.
Special, yeah. The one that I had at Chambly was much more hazy and opaque and thick.
To be fair, we just poured it really quickly. We can't see shit in this dark, and usually we need to swirl the can maybe a little bit. Maybe when we finish,
maybe at the bottom. Yeah.
But I'm very impressed. Overhop do fantastic sours. They really do some fun stuff because they use a lot of like the Graviola with they did a collab. They did it by themselves, and they did a collab with Avant-Garde, and it's a Brazilian fruit, somewhat similar to soursop, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
There's the different versions of that. So they're doing like fun stuff with like interesting ingredients from their native Brazil,
which is
Canadian.
Just so perfect.
It's so perfect, and they just I don't know. I just really, really love them. I might be somewhat biased because they're friends, but they weren't friends initially, and I already liked them. So
I liked their beer initially. So
as well. So we can admit that we sometimes you just...
I'm a fanboy sometimes.
Yeah, but like you got to... I feel like when we get to... People like us interview them. So when you get to know some of these folks, you can't help but like them more.
Absolutely.
Because the people are so cool.
So when I go pick it up off the shelf, I'm a little bit happier to do that.
Oh, we always... If I ever see it, we always just buy it anyway. We took some pictures for them in Jamaica of the One Love because we got the beer called One Love. So we went there in July. We went and bought some, made sure they didn't give it to us because... they're always too generous, so no, I'm going to buy this shit.
Yes.
It's a 9% IPA. It's expensive as well, so it's a nice, good one. It looked really sick in the photos.
So dangerous.
So dangerous. So Overhop, go check them out, whether you're in Ontario or Quebec.
That's right, and that completes our list.
It does. So we could probably just move right on to
our honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Did you want to do the big brewery mentions
Absolutely,
first?
yes.
So initially, we had a few big breweries that we would, and now when I say big, not macro.
No, big craft breweries.
Bigger.
The old boys, the old school. They
just never lose. You never can go wrong with them. And we just felt that we should probably shine some light on maybe the up-and-comers or like the newer guys or the ones that aren't quite as large.
That's right.
So we thought we'd separate the bigger breweries that we want to shine some light on that are killing it.
Being Boreal, of course.
Boreal, with the fact that they
reinvented themselves almost.
They absolutely did. I mean, they changed the game with the Nord-Est.
Absolutely.
But
yes.
that wasn't this year, I guess. But still,
But that's why it wasn't included on the list for me.
Correct.
They put out some great stuff. The Diamant Brut this year.
Oh, I love that beer.
The Double Descente that came out probably last year, but that has continued this year. I really like that new spicy stout that just came out.
Well,
Imperial Noirceur.
I saw that. Yeah, it was
it's
good.
like a spice. It's really, really good. It's just spicy enough, but it's actually quite spicy.
It's got like some chilies or something.
Yeah, it's really very good.
All right.
But so huge shout out to Boreal. There would be no craft beer scene without you.
You guys started
And all of these 10 breweries on this list exist. Exist because of you. Another big boy is
Judicio.
Of course.
I mean, look, you could arguably say that they're maybe not that big. They do have a huge production facility out in St. Jerome. They've got their local brew pub here in Montreal on Laurier. But they have, worldwide distribution. They are 20 years deep in the game. They have arguably the greatest coffee stout in the country with Péché Mortel, which I don't think many people
in the
disagree
world.
With. In the world, like the most, and it's $2.99.
It's the most
9.5%.
Yeah.
And they won't tell you what coffee they use, and I kind of appreciate that as much as I want to know.
It's Maxwell's house.
Can you imagine a Folgers or something? They're just like putting them fucking tins in. Just, all you gotta do is go to the trash cans at St. Jerome. You'll find out. Sorry, guys. No, but Judicio, amazing. Shouts to JF. Shouts to Jen Nad, who's an amazing brewer there. We always see her at Liquid Art. I love them. And shouts to Layla as well, one of the loveliest. She does she has a bunch of artwork. She does their social media. She's the best. Their Péché Mortel Day is probably one of my favorite events of the year. It's one of the few things we always make sure we go to.
It's the most exciting.
Do you usually go?
No, but just the 4-pack release.
The 4-pack
is like a hunt. You got to get it. And if you find it, you got to buy some for your friends because
I got one extra one in there I saved from this year because I want to see what happened when they age.
You have to do that, yeah.
Right, you got to get 2 of them. We went to the brunch at St. Jerome this year. It was, you drank like, I think 10 or 11 of their beers. They were like 2-ounce samplers. Fuck, man.
It's enough.
It starts at 11. And we got there at 11. We saw people who had been there earlier and they were like 2 beers deep. By the time we got there, and you're about to have a 10 or 11 course meal with multiple different beers. I'm like, and we saw Troy from LeBras. Shouts to Troy, but dude, I was like, I respect your drinking ability. I couldn't do it.
Moralité is a great IPA.
Exceptional. Immorality.
It's gonna come out in a can soon.
I saw that.
I'm so stoked to see that.
I'm glad.
I think actually by the time this comes out, it's gonna be out. Can't wait to drink any Moralité in a can.
In a can.
Yeah,
that's fucking
it's
cool.
Exciting. It's exciting.
Man. Judy said, do we have any other big ones? Do we have it on the list? You write it down?
There's Unibrew.
Unibrew always kill it.
But Unibrew is just more of like the grandfather of the craft beer scene in Quebec for me.
Yeah.
Next up, we have our honorable mentions.
Because 10 isn't really enough.
No.
Quebec has so many amazing breweries. This was very, very difficult to put together. So we had some honorable mentions for various reasons. The breweries we wanted to include in the top 10, but we felt like let's at least if they didn't make it,
shine some light on them so that you guys know about them if you don't know about them.
You want to start with the first one?
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite brew pubs in Montreal, the place that I love to go to with my family. I go there all the time, and if they're watching, they're going to know already what I'm going to say. Brasserie Haricana.
What's up?
I love you guys. You don't make ordinary beers. You do not follow trends. It is just all weird German-inspired beers. I love it. I love it. I love it so much.
I love how they separate the temperatures.
Yes, it's my favorite thing about it. Yes. That's everyone should do that. I hate going. I say it all the time. Ordering my stout and it's super cold.
Yeah, it's like 4 degrees and you're like, it needs to be 12.
It bothers me tremendously, especially at great brew pubs. It's something that they should work on and fix. So huge shout out to Brasserie Haricana. They started canning this year. They haven't put my favorite beers in the cans yet, but they will.
Time. Yeah. I love it. Great call. My first one would be Echo Session Ales. JF and JP have created a fantastic company. They have 3 core beers right now, a wit beer, hazy session IPA, and a Roos with Rooibos tea from South Africa. These guys are the happiest humans I know. They've got such great energy. Their branding is exceptional. Their social media is exceptional. They are really doing something cool. And I feel like session beers are a trend moving into 2020. They're really sort of capturing the game. In that sense, I just really enjoy what they're doing. I'm not really big into sessions personally, but after this year, I've done a few podcasts, and I feel like it keeps coming up, and I'm starting to slowly appreciate the value of it more. And I really think that because that's their whole thing, they're going to kind of like dominate with that. We actually did a collab with them 2 days ago. That's coming out in February. Can't say much else, but it's going to be a lot of fun. They're just great dudes. It's cool hanging out with them for the day.
Yep, shout out to JF. You're amazing.
Yes, you had him on the podcast.
I did.
Episode.
I don't know. Vox&Hops alumni, JF.
Just go check. If you see him, give him a kiss. All right, you're up. What's next?
Up next, we have Brasserie Dunham. They have a bunch of amazing beers coming out. They started putting their stuff in cans as well. I'm still waiting for that Sabro IPA. Ooh. Juicy Sabro.
I think I heard about that beer.
It was so good.
Yeah?
It was just so good. That beer alone makes me want to put them on this honorable mention list.
All right. I keep hearing about them.
They have a whole bunch of stuff coming out. They just dropped 4 packs of their Imperial Stout, a Wee Heavy in cans. It says it looks amazing. I haven't tasted it, but that Sabro Juicy IPA makes them deserve to be on this list.
I've heard a lot about Miller from a lot of different people. And I think that specific Sabro IPA, I think they do some hazy. Is it hazy?
It's hazy. It's juicy. It's delicious. Yeah,
that one sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's not it, but it's been like I'm waiting for it. It's coming back. I know it's
on the way. It's on the way. All right, my next one was Brasseurs Villain. We did a podcast with them sometime over the summer. I forgot the number. Stefan is the owner. He also owns Broken 7, which is a nice gateway brewery. Mm-hmm. Villain are their branding. They've got about 6 beers right now. They're mostly IPAs. Some they had a double IPA, different styles, kind of juicy, tropical, from West Coast, bitter, and piney. Their branding is exceptional. Their social media, which clearly is important to us, is exceptional. Their whole team is just really, really cool. I love what they're doing. I think they brew out of Alchemist,
yes,
out there in Joliet. They're just doing great stuff. Their brewer Mathieu is from France, doing some really cool stuff as well. I feel like they're just, as far as like, contract brewers don't always get their respect. This is my second contract brewer that I want to show love to, but I just really enjoy what they're doing. When people pay attention to branding, and then all of their beers across the board, like I hadn't tried any of them until the podcast, and we tried them all, and I was like, man, like you guys really like doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, their golden star for me is their Parasol
the double. Yeah,
yes,
that's great.
With the mosaic hops.
Yeah, they're just doing some really fun stuff, and I feel like they're going to do some really cool stuff coming into 2020. I think they got a bunch of events coming up, and new beers and things. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Another one. Sir John.
Yes.
So good what's coming out of that place. I've had a few of them, all amazing IPAs.
Where are they from?
They are from La Chute, Quebec.
Which is?
Northern Quebec.
Oh, okay.
Not too far, though, like just a little bit past Mirabel.
Okay.
It's really very, very amazing stuff that's coming out of there. Just hazy, dank, juicy IPAs, and is almost like a mix between the West and East IPAs that have been coming out. They have like different series with different hops, which always gets me. I love that. So huge shout out to Sir John.
Are they canning or packaging?
They are canning at this point, yeah.
Okay. And they got a cool, I keep seeing them come up.
The branding's really nice too, yeah.
Another one, this isn't my one on the list, but L'Abordage is another one similar to Sir John. They're out in Sutton that have a lot of haze. So I feel like Sir John and L'Abordage are the two kind of outside of Montreal that are like killer with the haze, that have really been like coming up on people's radar. So Masorum just did a collab with L'Abordage.
There you go. Yeah.
So stuff like that. My actual third one was Pub Brewski here in Montreal. We did a podcast with them a year or two ago, but we were definitely overdue to do another one because they just opened up a second tap room in their Bon Secours.
It's so cool, that tap room.
It's huge. That's why we did our first podcast.
It's so nice. It's so nice.
So beautiful. And at the time, when we hung out, we got to meet Derek and Zach there. They didn't have their equipment. Now they do, and they've started brewing. Yesterday, they had an event where they were doing their canning. The first canning, they canned 3 beers.
Imperial peanut beer.
Yeah, Imperial Peanut Buster. They had and 2 hazy IPAs. Because Zach is also a fellow beer media person who has a YouTube account called Porno, P-O-U-R-N-O, great name. And he's a great dude. And Derek, the co-owner and head brewer, is a part of that as well. And they go traveling around to places like Massachusetts and New York and around Quebec and drinking all the haze. So they're actually one of the few breweries now who I was referring to earlier with regard to sort of breweries in Quebec who are doing this, where we can go out and get fire haze at all times. And now they're starting to can it. I'm really excited for them. I haven't been back. They actually did a beer that I want to try. It's a pumpkin pie milkshake IPA, because that's Team Pumpkin and Team Lactose in one. Like, right?
They're waiting for you to come.
I'm going on the weekend. I don't give a fuck. And I'm just really proud of them. Guillaume is a great dude, and Derek, they've just been really working hard on you know, pushing the boundaries. They have like 30 something taps on there. They've done, you know, wicked collabs with Overhop. They always have, like, when they didn't have enough of their own beers in this transition period, they were putting on just a fantastic tap list of local breweries.
It's true.
They got one of the kegs of the Bas-Canada stouts recently, and they had that on there, which is pretty rare to have out here. They're just really pushing the boundaries, and I think what they're doing for Montreal beer, to me, that they would have been one I would have liked to include in the top 10. If
I think they will be.
10.
They'll be there next year.
Yeah, I feel like they will be. I think 2020, like Pub Brewski alongside Massorum, are one of the real ones to watch. Oh, okay. So we alluded. Now, if you waited to the end and you made it all the way through all of this fantastic content in the dark, bless you, Tiffany. That's okay. So the kind of crux of Matt's idea that you came to me with this, which I love. So not only were we going to collaborate on a video and a podcast about our top 10 breweries in Quebec, we were going to do a contest because we want to give back to the communities that have supported us so strongly. We reached out to all the breweries in our top 10, and we just said, hey guys, if you have anything you'd like to contribute to a contest, you know, that would be dope. So they were so friggin' generous.
Yeah,
we have
insane.
3 prizes that we're going to give away to first, second, and third prize. We're going to be launching the contest alongside this video. All the instructions will be in a corresponding post.
That's right.
This on how to win it. What type of stuff do we have to give away?
Oh, so much stuff. We got some beers from the breweries.
Yep.
We have some amazing beanies. We got glassware.
So we have the Vox&Hops glassware, which I was telling you to pay attention to before. We have some of these.
Yes.
Vox&Hops beanies. We have some like Lagerbier gear, some Sorum gear.
Yes.
That's Public beer.
Some
Avant-Garde beer.
Matera gear.
Matera gear. Jukebox beer, who didn't even make the top 10, but they're a part of Avant-Garde, and we want to make sure that people get to drink them. We have, man, I can't even remember.
I can't remember. There's so much stuff, yeah.
À la Fût gear, some beanies. Oh man, there's so much. Some glassware and some extra stuff that as well that we had you know, collected over some time that we just wanted to give away. Overhop gear, we have some Overhop glassware and caps.
But there's a lot of stuff, and it's any great craft beer drinker would appreciate to have any of these prizes.
Yes, so we're looking forward to giving back after the holidays. This will be an early January release, of course. So enter the contest. Good luck. We hope one of you guys comes home with this incredible prize pack. And the best I was saying to Matt, when I was looking at it, I'm extremely jealous of this prize pack, and that's how I knew it was fire. Because neither of us, there wasn't a couple extras in the packs for us. I was like, man.
No, it's all for you guys.
It's all for you guys, because that's what we do it for. You guys support us. You guys show us both love, and we appreciate everyone watching, listening, following, liking, subscribing.
Absolutely.
Engaging and drinking with us. So that is it, Matt. This was a pleasure, brother.
Of course, yes.
Thank you for doing this.
You guys message in the comments.
Yes.
What is your top 10?
What is your top 10 Quebec breweries? Let us know. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, mate, smash a thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell, ding, so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Bunch of really fun stuff coming in 2020 with our new themed seasons. And make sure you subscribe to Vox&Hops on all your favorite podcast platforms. Follow him on social media at Vox&Hops everywhere, because he's a consistent man. And go check out Cryptopsy. You already know about them anyway, because if you don't, you're not really a metal person.
You're not metal enough.
You're not metal enough.
Everything's available at www.voxandhops.com.
That's it. Can we do the get it in your thing in the middle?
Of course.
Again? Ready?
Get it in you.
Get it in ya. We can say put it in you. We can say
No,
get it in.
just put it as get
Put
it
it in. Yes, get it in you. Ready?
Get it in.
Get it in you. Put it in you. It's my favorite shit ever, dude.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Me and Craig had such a great time. It was so funny. You can check out on his channel, he has the video portion of this podcast. So if you want to see what we look like drinking these beers and having this chat and see what it's like when the power just cut out right in the middle of it, and then we finished our top 10 list in the dark with candles. It was amazing. It was so much fun. Craig, I love you, brother. So much fun hanging out with you. I can't wait to do it again. Don't forget that there's the epic giveaway that you can get. You got to check it out in the description of this podcast and on the Vox&Hops social media page and on the BAOS Podcast social medias. There are some instructions that you will need to follow so that you can get your hands on one of these 3 prize packs, which are just full of amazing products from the amazing breweries that made our top 10 list. Don't forget that Devastation on the Nation 2020 is coming up. Vox&Hops is one of the official sponsors of this tour. Devastation on the Nation 2020 is featuring Rotting Christ, Borknagar, Wolfheart, Abigail Williams, and Imperial Triumphant. Some of these shows have already sold out, so if you do not have your tickets and you intend to go to the show, you absolutely better grab your tickets soon because they're going to sell out. You can grab those tickets via the link in the description of this podcast, or you can simply go to www.metalfestivaltours.com. As always, the best way to support the Vox&Hops podcast is to simply talk about it. Go out, if you're hanging out with some metalhead friends, you see that they like craft beer and metal, you point them my way, you tell them to come check out the Vox&Hops podcast. If you want to take it one step further, you can go to the Vox&Hops Big Cartel page and grab yourself some of the items that are up there. That is always greatly appreciated when I receive any support from you Vox&Hops hits. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I hope that you're enjoying 2020 so far. Remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops hits.